Gman, here we go, episode 5. All right, let's get straight to it. We are filming this on Wednesday evening. I say this because, as you guys know, on Thursday, there's another press conference for Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. And if anything happens there, we've missed it. But we didn't miss yesterday's press conference.
Oh, no, we did not. And Eubank Jr. certainly didn't miss either.
He didn't miss. I mean, I didn't even know he had eggs. Why would I know? Yeah. But you know what it is? He was wearing such a tight jacket. You almost felt like you could see if anything was there, but he had those kind of expanded pockets.
Yeah.
So it was difficult. You know, one thing about those pressers, obviously, look, I hosted it. Yes, I made a mistake, guys. I know, Ronnie Davis, Ronnie Shields. But one thing about doing those press conferences is that I find them quite boring. So every time they ask me, look, it's a privilege to be asked to do them. But I'm like, no, I don't really want to do them because most of the fighters don't really say anything. Mm-hmm. There are no fans in attendance. Media can't ask questions. And those are the things I want to make these press conferences better. We didn't get the media, but we got the fans, and Eubank and Ben and Eddie and Ben Shalom went for it straight away.
It was epic. I don't know why they don't do more fans of those. Yeah. Because they showed a clip of just the list of fans, like the line of fans entering the arena. And I was like, oh man,
and that was only a day's notice.
Literally
days notice. Like you give fans 3 or 4 days notice. I think they would have had that place packed out. I think it takes about 600-700, that little auditorium. I think about 200 came in because, again, only a day's notice.
Yeah, day's notice midweek. It was a Monday. So, it was Tuesday, wasn't it?
Tuesday.
Yeah. So midweek, get off work. If you gave everyone, say, right, this day next week, we're having this press conference for whoever, it would look epic.
Yeah. All right, removing the egg slap, and we're going to get to that because that was incredible. Honestly, it was incredible. Who won the press conference removing that? If you can just stop when I say, okay, they're going to do a face-off, who won?
Eubank.
Eubank won.
Yeah. I didn't even, there's no even kind of,
so
maybe it was Eubank.
Man.
He is a talker.
He's so good at them. Like, he just has this way of his delivery. Mm-hmm. Even when he shut Eddie up, that's like Eddie shut up. And normally you don't do that because Eddie's the captain of the ship, right? Mm-hmm. But he just shut Eddie down. Like, you're not talking. He even shut Ben Shalom down. Like, literally, he controlled me. He controlled the whole thing. I thought he's always good at press conferences, and it annoys me that we haven't seen more of that from him over the years. I think we got it a little bit against Liam Smith and other fighters, but I almost feel like I wish he started speaking from the first time we saw him nearly, 15 years ago, whatever.
He never really was that. He would only kind of say a few words. It's going to be destruction. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And, you kind of looked at him and were like, all right, there's not much there. Once he actually came out of his shell, so to speak, and eggshells. Once he came out of that shell and started really speaking, he's funny. He's got charisma. He can this is a guy, he can shut Eddie up.
Yeah, he's witty. He's brave.
Yeah,
I mean, let's not forget the last one I did prior to this one where he kind of said stuff to Frank, said stuff about Kalla, said stuff about Eddie. He doesn't care. And I guess he's become that person since his dad has been pushed to the side.
Yeah.
Because he's got to talk. Okay, his dad's not there to talk for him anymore. He doesn't seem to have great relationships with any promoter. So he's almost become a self-promoter. And I think that's why he's so good at it.
Man, he's had to learn that on the fly. And he is doing excellent at it because, bear in mind, his own promoter was there, Ben Shalom, promoter in name, and he shut him down.
Yeah.
Shut everyone down.
Yeah. Did he go too far with the egg slap?
Well, how do you answer that? Because are we not entertained?
We were.
Like Daniel Dubois said.
We were.
If we had any doubts about, will this fight fill Tottenham Hotspur? Done.
Done. Job done.
Sold.
Job done.
Sold.
And even if I'm Conor Benn, obviously, look, livid. But once you go home, have a shower, calm down, breathe, you're probably thinking, if I'm going to get a bit of money because the pay-per-view is going to do well, then Chris Eubank Jr. just made a bit more money.
He's made everyone richer with that. Conor Benn, he did not look happy. No one looked happy on Team Benn. But I say once he reflects, the first thing you'll say is, if you were looking, you'd say, do you know what he's done? He's probably made this pay-per-view even bigger.
It's so out of character, though, for Chris Eubank.
Oh, yeah, you never...
Like, he doesn't do anything. Like, sometimes people push him. Remember the time where Spike O'Sullivan tried to kiss him?
I do, I remember that.
Yeah, remember. So he doesn't do that. He's on the receiving end. So it was so... Even when he got up to Conor, I was like, why is he going so close to Conor's face? Like, what's he doing here? What's he going to do? And then bang. And then just erupted. And I was right there. I was kind of behind everyone. I was like... What's going on? Was that just a push?
There was no inkling whatsoever when you were there that, like, okay, could something happen? It was just, when it happened, it was like, what the hell?
Yeah. But I thought it was fantastic. Again, I think these press conferences need characters. Eddie's a character. Conor's a character. Nigel got involved. Ronnie Davis didn't really say anything, but what he did kind of sparked with Nigel a little bit. So I think overall, ticked every single box. I guess we now wait to April 26th.
Oh, man.
Or I wait until, you guys are going to see this on Friday, but I will wait until Thursday, which makes sense because there is a press conference on Thursday.
I imagine security will be well and truly beefed up for that.
Right, mate. I'm telling you now, yeah, let's just say yeah.
Yeah.
And even, there's obviously going to be no face-off. Like I've been told, and I probably shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it anyway, I've been told that the British Boxing Board of Control have said, look, if anything happens again, done. So you can't, I'm like, whatever.
No.
Whatever.
That's a kind of please don't do anything.
Yeah, we'll just go to Luxembourg and do a David H. Azor and get a Luxembourg license.
Exactly.
We'll go anywhere because this fight's happening. This fight's happening because it needs to happen. All right, we'll get to that closer to time. Let's focus on the now. The now was Saudi Arabia for what was billed as the greatest fight card of all time. Okay, was it?
Right. I seen you post on X and you said marks out of 10.
Yeah.
9.5.
Why?
I held off commenting on that. 9.5.
Why? Where's the 0.5 lost?
I felt Hamza Shiraz lost, and he didn't win, but he escapes with a draw, and that was too generous.
Okay.
Had that have gone Carlos Adames's way, perfect card.
Okay, good. Now you said that, fantastic. Let's start from bottom to top. Let's do that, right? Normally top to bottom, but let's go bottom to top. I don't want to be disrespectful to the two local Saudi guys, Ziad Al Mayouf and Mohammed Al Akal, but let's park them for a second. And let's start with Joshua Buatsi versus Callum Smith, The War.
The War. There was no bottom of this card. Every fight was tops. Every single one of them. And this one just, this kicked off the show.
Dude.
And I thought it would be good. I thought we would maybe see the best of Joshua Buatsi. We did, but we saw the best of Callum Smith. We saw the best of them both. It was epic. Round 6
oh my Lord.
Was just man.
Like I was thinking this as the fight was happening. Oh, in fact, that's a lie. When the fight finished, because I think I tweeted it as well. Like the light heavyweight division has given us in 3 weeks, Morrell versus Benavidez, which we spoke about, Buatsi Smith, and now Bivol Beterbiev in 3 weeks. So arguably, you can make an argument, say the top 6 guys, based on Smith's performance, the top 6 guys have all gone at each other.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been, and they've all been great fights.
Did you, I can't remember the video we did. It feels like such a long time ago now. Did you pick Smith?
No, I picked Buatsi because I thought like a Smith in his peak would win.
Yeah.
I thought that, but I didn't think we had that. Boy, he proved me wrong.
I proved everyone wrong. I hate when people in the aftermath are like, I told you so. No, you didn't. You didn't, because he disappeared after the Beterbiev fight. I think he got married. We heard nothing, and then he appeared on a Matchroom before the bell card, and we were like, okay.
Yeah.
But Buatsi had the trajectory, but Buatsi was the one that was fighting regularly, finally,
Yeah.
and winning. Winning hard fights, but winning.
Winning on Riyadh shows as well.
Yeah.
Winning hard fights. Coming in as the underdog in some of them. A lot of people are picking Willie Hutchinson to win.
Yeah.
Doing what he needed to do, making all the right moves, looking good, and just along comes Callum Smith out of nowhere, really.
How the hell is he that big?
Man, he's huge.
I could not believe the size of the... me and Gman were talking prior, and I said, let's save it for this. But if you were to have told me which fighter was a super middleweight, I would have said, Buatsi, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
And Buatsi's not small.
There you go. He is big. He is a big light heavyweight.
He's a very big light heavyweight, but he was dwarfed. And the one thing about Buatsi, and I've noticed in his style change since he's got to Virgil, is that he's trying to maybe outman you. He will question your will. That's all well and good when you're the bigger, stronger guy. But when you come up against someone that is as skilled, maybe a bit more skilled, as big, maybe a bit bigger, and as strong, maybe stronger, you've got a bit of a problem.
And hits very, very hard.
Very hard.
Very hard.
He sits on his shots, Callum does. Those body shots, how Buatsi did not go down.
I think those body shots were the difference.
Yeah.
I think they really put Buatsi in his place, and any hope he had of really trying to step on the gas, those body shots took it out of him.
Yeah, I want Buatsi to chill out now for a little while, because he took a lot of headshots. He took a lot of headshots.
No question, his chin.
Yeah, no, but I don't like that. There's sometimes, when you've got a great chin like that, and you can take that kind of punishment, I think it's the accumulation of those type of punches that does damage later on in life. I think those guys that just get knocked out because it only takes one.
Oh yeah.
But when you take 10 or 15 or 20, one day, a bit like Joe Joyce, it's just going to go. A bit like Joe Joyce, it could just go, and when it goes, you can't fix it, right?
Yeah, once it's dented, it's gone, and then it's a case of, long pause in between every word.
Okay,
we don't want that.
All right, so that's Boatsy and Smith. Very, very quickly on this. Smith Benavidez next if Bivol fights Beterbiev.
Smith Benavidez.
I mean, if Bivol fights Beterbiev for the trilogy, I mean, Benavidez was ringside waiting. He's going to want to fight someone.
He's going to want to fight someone.
And I think it's...
I'm just thinking, Callum Smith Benavidez, that is an epic fight at 175.
Dude.
That cannot be a bad fight.
No. That I've seen enough from Smith now where I apologize, Smith. I'm saying it down the barrel of the camera. I got it wrong. There is a lot left.
Oh, there is loads.
And that was, I think, the best win of his career. I think it takes George Groves.
It does. It takes George Groves. George Groves retired his very, very next fight.
Yeah.
And no one was questioning Callum Smith going into that fight.
Yeah.
We were all questioning him.
Yeah.
We know better now. And obviously it shows how good Beterbiev is. But we had the two. They are in a league of their own.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to them. We'll get to those two boys in a minute. Bivol and Beterbiev, incredible. All right, so the next fight on the card was Zhang Kabayel?
Zhang Kabayel.
Zhang Kabayel. I said Kabayel.
I said Zhang.
You said Zhang. I said Kabayel. Look, you know what it is? I could see from the first round, and look, credit to Kabayel here. Yeah. He went to Zhang's fight, said, okay, I'm going to take the risk, and it nearly paid off for Zhang, but I'm going to fight you in the pocket. I'm going to make you work, and I know you don't like working.
No, and I think the first round, he fought how I thought he would in the first round, Kabayel. He moved a little bit. He wasn't getting the better of it. Zhang was just the better fighter in that first round.
Too big.
So he was like, right, this ain't going to work. So let's see. Let's see what I can do. He fought him in the pocket.
Couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Dude.
And he was having so much success. Yeah, he got dropped. But in that round, it looked like he was going to stop Zhang. He gets dropped, gets back up, and then the next round he stops him.
You know when people talk about chopping down a tree, we hear it a lot. That was literally it.
That was the definition.
He was literally chopping down the tree. Like, I mean, Zhang's body all over, the red around the torso was like, my God, his belly was just red. And that was Kabayel just wailing away. And then when he got caught, I was like, oh God.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he got caught, and that's it. Like, I thought, okay, you had a go, you got caught. But now he wins. I mean, what for Kabayel? Like, Kabayel's almost the guy where if you are Turkey or Spencer Brown who promotes him, you're probably thinking, what do we do with him? Like, who does he fight?
Who does he fight? He's a proper dark horse, and there's no disputing this one. Magomedov, how good really was he? Sanchez injured. Nope, he couldn't have got a better Zhang.
Yeah, for real.
Could not have got
he
better.
He got Zhang that came in, I think, even just below the weight he did when he fought Wilder or thereabouts. No excuses, fresh, no injuries, and you stopped him. Yes. You're the first person to stop him, not beat him like Parker did or Hrgovic. You stopped him. I mean, that is such a statement win. Honestly, I mean, I could make an argument that he goes straight for a title. I could make an argument.
Oh, hell yeah.
But if not, he needs a big one.
He deserves a big fight.
Yeah.
He absolutely. If ever a man now was proved right, it's you get that big fight. You deserve that. It's Ajay Kabayel.
Yeah, indeed. What does Zhang do?
Oh, no, that...
At 41,
I don't think there's any coming back from that.
Really?
And I think as well as that, Zhang... Look, he's lost 2 fights prior to this.
Yeah.
Both very close decisions. He can make the argument he won those and say, look, I should be undefeated. At 41, now you've been stopped, you've been chopped down like that.
Tough one, isn't it?
I don't think it's coming back from that.
Yeah, because now you can see it's out there now, the blueprint.
Exactly.
How to beat him. It's risky, but if you stay there in front of him, you're going to win because you know that he's... Like, I'm not joking. He's gas tank. I was talking to Sean Porter ringside, and Sean was like, my God, he's breathing heavy after round 2. Like, he's done. Yeah. Like, he couldn't compete with the gas tank. And I'm thinking, if you're done after round 2 and you're 280, he's never going to be 260. He is what he is. He can still catch you, but most likely, once he goes past 4 rounds, he's done.
Fighters will look at him and think, all right, you're dangerous, but if I can get by a couple of rounds with you, I can outwork you, and then I can just make you quit. Or I can stop you.
Agreed. One of the fights that I think's gone under the radar, just because, again, we had such a good opening fight and we had such a good main fight, almost like the middle fights have been forgotten. I thought Magomedov Virgil Ortiz was just sensational.
That was brilliant.
Sensational.
It started out, I was like, Ortiz bitten off more than he can chew. Because Magomedov started so good. And then Ortiz just, honestly, like he did, and I will say this, he did a much better job on Israel Magomedov, who's a great fighter, than Terence Crawford did.
But did Terence Crawford not show you how to do it? You know when someone's shown you how to beat someone, doesn't that help as you're the first person to, to beat them and to show you how you beat them? Do you know? Because I've heard a lot of people say what you just said.
Well, no, he did, but I mean, you could show someone how to beat Ajay Kabayel or how to beat Zhang. Doesn't mean you're good enough to do it. Agreed.
You know what I liked about Virgil's performance was Magomedov for the first 5 or 6 rounds was doing what Magomedov does. Oh, yeah. And I was like, my God, this is tough.
That's what
Magomedov's bouncing, he's moving, he's in, he's out, he's landing those sneaky shots, those kind of punches on the top of the temple, very Golovkin-esque. And then all of a sudden, he lands a few shots, and now he starts to fight how Virgil wants you to fight. And I was thinking, you were never beating a Mexican in a phone booth.
Never.
Like, if you think that you're gonna fight a Mexican in what is now a 5x5 ring, like you forgot about the 20x20. You're now fighting him in a 5x5 ring. Ain't happening. Virgil was as tough as old boots.
Your game is moving. Now you're not moving. And you're in there against Virgil. Okay. Enjoy.
I think Virgil, and I said this to someone at Golden Boy, I tweeted them. Sorry, I sent them a voice note saying, I think Virgil, in terms of value for money, you've got a star there that's so value for money and will fight anybody.
He is. I know Oscar said that before, but now, like, he is. After Ryan Garcia, that's your guy.
He needed that fight.
He needed 100%.
Because of the Boy Shook win/defeat, because a lot of people thought he might have lost that. He needed a performance. And because, again, the Magomedov is so closely linked to Crawford, you can make that comparison. I think he needed it, and I think he delivered. Honestly, I was so impressed with his work rate, him all week, the way people had doubted him. Even I kind of said Magomedov could win this one. Man. And now, with Crawford gone, I think, from 154 pounds, you kind of look around and you're like, okay, who is now the top dog? Who would you like to see him in the ring with next?
I'd love to see him fight Fundora.
Okay.
I think that would be epic because Fundora, although he's 6'5", 6'6", he tends to fight that Mexican style.
Yeah.
He comes forward.
Yeah.
And that would be epic seeing
that. What a weird kind of comparison. One guy is that tall, one guy's that tall, and one guy's punching down, the other guy's trying to punch up.
And they're meeting in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird.
But Fundora, you're right. He's almost got the Callum Smith thing where he's so rangy, but he likes fighting inside.
Exactly.
What was the guy that's going to... I completely forgot the guy's name now. The one that beat Tim Tszyu. He beat Tim Tszyu. He's got... Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
And he's been saying... I saw his tweet recently saying, why is no one calling me out? Why is no one
very good and very dangerous?
Because he's very good and very dangerous. He's the IBF champion.
He's the IBF champion.
And no one's giving him any headlines.
And he absolutely, with ease, destroyed Tim Tszyu. He destroyed him. But look,
Virgil Ortiz, congratulations. All right, we move on because time is against us and we have, I said, a lot to talk about. All right, next fight, Josh Padley, Shakur Stevenson.
Man, Josh Padley is taking... Monday at 5 o'clock, he clocked off and went to work the next day. Yeah. Wednesday, he's on a plane to Saudi Arabia.
Dude.
And now he's not working. He doesn't need to.
Dude, I spoke to him yesterday. Yesterday being Tuesday for the Ariel and Ade show. And like, even I said to him, do you have to pinch yourself? You thought, like, no one knew who you were. Mm-hmm. You were doing small hall shows where if you don't sell tickets, you don't fight. In front of a couple of hundred people, maybe. Yeah. You're then at Wembley Stadium beating His Excellency's favourite fighter. And it wasn't packed, but there's about 10,000 in there when you fought. And now you're fighting Shakur Stevenson, a pound for pounder, free-weight world champion. Like, only boxing. And he said, dude, same. He said he had to pinch himself. Like, he couldn't believe. When he was walking to the ring, he said he couldn't believe it. Like, how's this even happened?
But even in the ring, and bear in mind, he was in shape, but he wasn't ready himself.
Fighting shape.
He said the body shots just killed him because no condition.
Yeah.
He still looked good.
I think he looked really sharp for like 3 or 4 rounds. Yeah, I think he took a couple of rounds maybe.
You could argue that. And that's against course. And I'm thinking, listen, this is a guy who works a full-time job and can only really commit to training part-time. That's how he looks against a pound-for-pound fighter. It's not like you're fighting a world champion, a world level. You're fighting an elite fighter. What could you do now that you're full-time? Yeah,
full-time. Because he even said to me, he said after work, he normally goes an hour to the gym. Then he's got to go home.
There you see.
You know what I mean? And now he says he's got time to have a full-time trainer, a full-time S&C coach, someone that does his meals, and he can train for as many hours a day as he wants. He's 29, I think, Josh Padley.
Young enough.
So young enough, and now he's got money. He's comfortable. I love it. I love when boxing delivers those kind of stories.
Because he would be one of those guys who the talent is there, but just never got the opportunity, didn't have the backing. Well, he has it now. So random that they picked him to fight March. Like, where's he come from? Like, who finds these people? Like even Mark Chamberlain to an extent. Yeah. It's so random that they get a chance on one of these big cards like this. Well, I'll never forget when he fought Chamberlain and he sat ringside. It might have been you doing the interview with Jamie Ward, one or the other. And he wasn't just selling himself in the fight. He was selling himself post-fight. He was saying, listen, I work as an electrician full-time. If anyone wants to promote me, sponsor me. And you just look at that and you think, I hope he does well. Yeah. And now he has that opportunity. Like, he can do it. He's full-time. And he'll get a promoter off the back of that. I'm about to say that. Like, surely, I mean, he should have got a promoter off the back of the Mark Chamberlain win, which is kind of strange. But now, surely, he gets a promoter. Like, surely there's some big fights in and out.
in that region, sort of that Doncaster area, Leeds, etc. Hopefully he gets a big fight. There are some names being thrown at him already, for fingers crossed. Well, on Shakur Stevenson, score his performance out of 10.
Well, as good as as much praise as we give for Josh Padley, there's a lot of criticism for Shakur. I thought you'd look at that and think, if that was Floyd Schofield, what would he have done? Because I thought that at times, well, the punching power just isn't there.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a guy here taking a fight in a couple of days' notice,
You know what
and
it
he's
is?
saying
You know
no
what it is?
power.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I think the punching power is there, but I think he's scared to fully commit because of the hands. Now that I saw his hands up close, and that, I think it was right. It just looked brittle.
Really?
And he couldn't even. It's weird. Like, he couldn't even close it fully. Like, see, it was weird. It was almost like it was like that. He couldn't really close it, and I thought he won. I thought at times against Josh Padley, he was gonna box, and then he thought, okay, Josh Padley's game. So he really started to dig his shots, and when he started to dig them, I think we saw the result of it. I think he's scared to really go for it. A bit like Floyd. Floyd had bad hands towards the end, and Floyd would just be happy to coast, knowing. And Floyd can dig a little bit.
He could.
Yeah, and all of a sudden Floyd stopped digging, and I feel like Shakur might be a bit like that.
Possibly. And the thing is, Floyd could get away with it. Floyd had that aura about him. He had the audience built up. That style worked perfectly for an older Floyd.
Yeah,
of course,
true.
still in his mid-20s, only 27. It's just not going to work for a guy in the prime of your career. It'll work for you if you got brittle hands, but in terms of making you a name, a star, getting butts and seats, that's a promoter's nightmare.
That's the problem, isn't it? Floyd already had the butts and seats.
Exactly.
And Floyd was already a pay-per-view star, so Floyd could do that, right? Floyd sold himself out of the ring, so you tuned in to see him either get chinned or just watch this superstar. Shakur doesn't have that. Even though he's tried to align himself, not try, but he's aligned himself to Terrence and Andre Ward, he hasn't got that superstar status. I think it only comes from a superstar fight.
I agree.
I think so. And I don't know if he's big enough for 140 because he's not going to get the ones at 135. He's obviously not going to fight Keyshawn Davis, and I don't think he gets Tank.
Neither do I. I don't think he gets
he's
Tank.
in a weird position then. I mean, he's almost going to have to fight the guys coming up that are calling him out.
Exactly.
Again, Floyd. Maybe you go back to the Floyd Schofield fight. Maybe
he started at 126.
Yeah,
the guys
I
at
think people
140 started at lightweight. So there's a 10-pound difference already off the bat. It's too much of a jump.
Yeah, Teofimo Lopez was ringside. He was almost his cheerleader. It was weird. He was actually cheering on Shakur. But then you could see the difference.
Oh, yeah.
I looked at Teofimo and his shoulders. He just looked really big. And I was like, maybe Shakur has kind of maxed out. I've always thought Shakur could go up the weights. Now I'm thinking, maybe he's maxed out. Maybe one more jump and that's it.
Yeah, 140 is the
140,
absolute
but the
limit.
140 would be the guys at 135 now coming up, as opposed to the guys right now at 140. All right, that one's done. All right, the most controversial fight on the card was Hamza Shiraz versus Carlos Adames. It was scored a draw. It wasn't a draw. I mean, I like Hamza more than most. And I think Hamza knows. I could tell. He did a few interviews after. I think he done one with Sky. And he could see he was super disappointed. And I don't think you'll be that disappointed if you believed you got a draw. I think he was super disappointed because he knew he lost.
Yeah, I think he did as well. The body language. Like, even you see fighters, even when they kind of know, I probably lost this fight, but I might have nicked it, sort of way. He didn't even just, once the bell went, it was just resigned. I've lost. And yeah, he escapes. I'm just, the one saving grace is it's not a win for Hamza Shiraz. He doesn't get the title.
Yeah.
Adames doesn't lose.
Dude, if that was the case, there would have been a bit of a riot online. Like, I noticed that he had to turn his comments off on a couple of photos, I think, just because people idiots.
It ain't his
He's
fault.
almost blaming him.
No, it's not his fault.
What do you want him to do? He's not gone to the judge and say, take a couple of quid. He's not done that. The judges have watched it. Obviously, it didn't help when Turkey went up and said to him, you're 2 points behind or something. That doesn't help.
No, one thing for a promoter to do it. If Frank did it, all right, fair enough. That's a promoter's job. He's not Carlos Adames' promoter, fair enough. But yeah, Turkey, that's
he's
left
clearly
a bad look.
aligned himself to Hamza.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's basically made him a Riyadh season ambassador. He clearly likes Hamza as well. So as much as I know people have critiqued it, and by the way, I want to clear something up because a lot of people said he went to the scorecards, the official scorecards, and didn't. No. He didn't. So Turkey sits with a TV in front of him, and up flashed Chris Mannix's scorecard, and that showed that he was two rounds down. And that's why he then saw that and went. I'm not trying to say that makes it any better, but I just want to clear that up because I think people think he went to the judges' scorecard and he didn't do that.
No. And you're right. Seeing Chris Mannix's was like, well, they have you down. I still don't think he should have done it.
No, I agree.
At all. I think one thing for a promoter, but not for Turkey. But listen, I can understand Hamza Shiraz is a likeable guy.
Yeah,
and he's a great fighter. It's not even just that he's a likeable guy. When you watch him fight, you want to watch him fight. Yeah. He's great, but he ran into a style.
It was just a style that it was almost like it was actually almost like Amma Williams on steroids, if that makes any sense. They're just faster.
The faster, not as much punching power, the head movement,
Yeah.
everything. And every single time Hamza Shiraz early in that fight wanted to do something, he's getting countered.
Yeah,
and he was just like, I can't do this. It's not even the hand.
I think it wasn't even the hand.
Yeah.
I know it came up that he broke his hand, but it was even prior to that.
Exactly.
It was prior to that. He couldn't just get off. Hamza just looked a bit slower, a bit tentative, because as you say, the counters were coming back so quick. I think he got caught with a couple of big right hands, and I think he thought, okay, well, this is quite difficult to read. Look, I think, I don't want to say he goes back to British level, so I understand what I'm saying, people, but there are British names, Liam Smith, Chris Eubank. I like those type of fights for him now.
Exactly. There are names like that. There are names, even at kind of fringe world level. Felix Cash, maybe, if he's still sticking around. There you go. I mean, Felix Cash only lost to Tyler Denny.
Yeah.
So there's names like that you could still be in. They could still bring you some rounds. They could bring you along.
Or maybe there's a jump to 168.
How he makes 160 is beyond me.
And maybe that affects him. Maybe I know he lives the life, but I'm sorry, when you're that tall, and Hamza's about 6'3", maybe taller, 160 is going to kill you.
160, how he ever makes that weight is just, I can't. I've seen him in person myself, and it's like, you are huge. You're absolutely massive. 168, he could be a lot more refreshed. In fact, actually, if he was at 168, maybe if he was in a position where those fast counters were bothering him, maybe don't bother him as much at 168.
Yeah, agreed. When you have that kind of extra body weight, you can absorb the punches a bit more. All right, the biggest talking point out of Saudi, without a doubt, was Martin Bakole stepping in on 2 days' notice, and one of those days, getting to the fight card. Now, one of those days, he was in the air for practically 18 hours. He got to Saudi Arabia on the morning of the fight. He got to, like, when I say all this, it really shouldn't even been sanctioned.
No.
He got to Saudi Arabia at 2:45. I know he conducted 3 interviews, so I'm guessing he went to his bed and fell asleep at around 4 in the morning. And he was 310 pounds.
It's 15 pounds.
Was it 315?
It was even more. It was,
I think it was 315 unofficially.
with the clothes,
with
probably,
the clothes on, the jeans on, the trainers. I think once he stripped down, 310.
It was, listen, for a big payday, in one sense, you're kind of like, okay, we don't know how much money he's made in his career, but this was kamikaze. I mean, this was, honestly, you couldn't have done this.
It's such a shame as well, because Bakole versus Parker is a big fight.
Bakole versus Parker was a great fight.
Yeah, like Bakole, you know me, I'm the biggest Martin Bakole fan. Like I've always kind of been his cheerleader from the side, but I'm not happy about Bakole weighing 310 pounds out of camp.
Well, that obviously says to me that once he's in camp, he's doing what he needs to do, but once it's out of camp, it's just, I don't care.
And that's a problem for me.
No.
And that's a big problem, and I've made a video about it as well, so I don't want to go too deep into it again, but Bakole weighed 250 pounds against Sergey Kuzmin 4.5 years ago. How's he put on 60 pounds?
Oh, man.
How have you put on 60 pounds? And it's not 60 pounds of muscle. As soon as he took that robe off and I saw the belly, I was like, oh my God.
As soon as I seen that, I just thought, oh my God. Even when that first bell went, I was like, he's already blown from that ring walk. He jumped over the top rope, and I was like, that probably took all your strength just to do that. Just to flip and do that. And getting there on a day's notice, I seen Dan Raphael tweeted that because he took that fight, his status with the IBF is gone.
I saw that, which is very interesting, because obviously Billy Nelson threw the towel in, and I feel like if that was the fight and only the fight, I think Billy Nelson gives him a round. I know Billy Nelson said, like, I saved him, it was dangerous, but I think Billy Nelson threw the towel in because of the F.A. Jagba fight line.
Exactly.
Now, I mean, I think he still will fight F.A. Jagba, by the way. I just don't think it's an IBF final eliminator anymore.
No, I don't think it is. I think that, but then
I don't think they care.
If you think of it like this, but yeah, say you fight F.A. Jagba and you beat him. Like Martin Bakole in shape beats F.A. Jagba for me every day of the week. Not
scarred by the knockout?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he'll be okay with that.
I think he'll be okay because of the knockout. And what I mean by that is the shot was it was a shot on the top of the head.
Exactly.
Messes your equilibrium. It wasn't like you got caught with something clean coming in.
Exactly. Mess your equilibrium up. You beat the count, but your cornerman said, no, done. Okay, fair enough, no argument. You go in there with F.A. Jagba. There's no mandatory, right? So you're not going to become mandatory. You do a demolition job on him like I think he can. Where's the incentive for these guys to fight you?
Yeah.
At least if you had just kept to your guns, you're mandatory. He has to fight you, whoever the champion is.
It's a good shout. It's a good shout. So although he won by winning 2 million, whatever he said it was, maybe in the long run he's lost.
Exactly.
Maybe in the long run he's lost. But I just want him to get in shape. I don't want him to start camp and use it as a way to lose weight. I want him to start camp as a way to sharpen your tools. And I'm sorry, again, I'm just not having the 310 pound thing.
Well, if you think about it like this, right? So this is obviously not the first time he's done this, right? And we've seen how good he looks when he's in shape. Could you imagine if he keeps himself in shape all year and can just focus on boxing, not have to lose weight?
Dude, imagine he was 270, 275. Because look, I get it, he's a big guy. And maybe they looked at the Sergei Kuzmin and thought, okay, we need to add a few pounds onto you.
Yeah.
Just for you to be that intimidating factor like he is. But you need to find a happy medium.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just, honestly, Bacoli, no. But what I don't want to do, I feel like the Bacoli thing's taken away from the fact that Parker took it on 2 days' notice and knocked him out.
Yeah.
Like, Parker needs to be given some respect.
And that's the heaviest I've ever seen Parker. And my God, he holds the weight very well. He was looking, I know he had a guy there on probably, 6 hours sleep, but he looked so sharp.
Look big.
Parker
strong.
looked so sharp. I was looking at that thinking, God, if it was Dubois in there.
That would have been a war. Honestly, that would have been a fantastic fight. And hopefully, because there's been so many conspiracy theories flying around, hopefully it is Dubois Parker. Because there's a lot of talk now of it's Dubois straight to Usyk. And I think that's unfair on Parker.
I do.
And I can see how that happens, Dubois Usyk. But sorry, if I'm Parker, I'm like, 1 second. So I've beaten Zhang, Wilder, and Bacoli. Zhang, Wilder, Bacoli, and I need a world title shot.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, he was willing to give up that WBO interim status to fight Daniel Dubois. I know it wasn't a mandatory, right? But at the very least, it wasn't Parker who pulled out with his fight. It wasn't Parker. He deserves it. He deserves that crack.
What we want to happen is one thing. What do you think happens? Like, how does this heavyweight landscape play out in the next 3 months? Who fights who?
In a fair world, it will be Parker Dubois to fight Usyk, but it's not a fair world. It's going to be Joseph Parker, maybe on the sidelines, maybe taking a kind of a gimme fight. If anyone's owed a gimme fight now at this stage, it might very well be Joseph Parker on the undercard of Usyk versus Dubois too.
Okay, who's AJ fight then?
There you go.
No, seriously, he's on the stage. He's healthy now, no injuries. See, in my head, I feel like they could do AJ Dubois 2, Parker Usyk.
Now that would be a shout.
Yeah,
I don't know if
on a massive card.
On a massive card.
On a massive card, AJ Dubois 2. Or world title fight. So you got world title fight, winners fight each other undisputed.
Or we could just do Dubois versus Usyk, AJ Parker 2.
Ooh, we could do that.
We could do that. And I think AJ Parker 2 would be epic at this stage because we have what was the one complaint we had about Parker first time? Not aggressive enough. He is aggressive now.
The referee stopping them all the time. They try to get in close.
Turkey would not even, if a referee did that on one of Turkey shows, he would never even allow that.
I think AJ would take the Parker fight.
Well, he was picking Parker to beat Dubois. Yeah. And I suspect he was picking him, maybe because he thought he'd win, but because he looked at Parker and thought, I've beaten you already, I can do it again.
All right, let's do this. The main event.
Mate, Eddie said it perfect.
What did he say?
Eddie said it perfect. It's very rare in a rematch. It's better. And both guys improve. Man, both guys improved. It was epic.
Who won for you, just to be clear?
Bivol.
Okay, cool. No, like, because there've been some chatter that Beterbiev was robbed. I'm like, have I missed something?
What?
I thought Bivol won by a round, 2 rounds. Like, and not just, a round makes it sound like it was close, but it was a clear winner.
It was.
Even though it was maybe a round or 2 rounds, it was a clear round or 2 rounds. Like, it wasn't like, that round could have gone to Beterbiev. No, it was clear.
It was a real case of started out Bivol, mid-rounds Beterbiev, end rounds Bivol. That's how it went. And you can't argue with it any other way. I was as soon as I saw Bivol that first round, I was like, oh my God, how sharp and how fast he was. I was like, he is on it.
See, I thought that as well. So I remember the first 4 rounds, I either gave it 3-1 to Bivol or I gave it 2 apiece. I can't remember. I think 3-1 to Bivol. But I have to be honest, I was shitting myself. From 5 to 7, I thought Beterbiev looked like a crazy man.
He did.
I thought, my God, why is he running out? He was running across the ring to Bivol, like running. I was like, what's going on here? He was fighting as though it was round 12.
Yeah, he literally looked like, right, round 12, I'm behind, let's go for it.
Yeah.
And that's what it looked like. And Bivol, I think it was one of the rounds where he even let a big kind of, what the hell's going on here?
Yes. And there were one round, it might have been later in the fight, where they both went for the home run.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you now, the crowd went, ooh, because they missed each other by millimeters. And I'm telling you now, Bivol's getting knocked out of that lands.
Oh, man.
It was Beterbiev put everything into. He even kind of put himself off balance.
I don't think he threw one real, like, proper solid right hand in the first fight. There was a couple of right hands he threw where I looked, they missed, and I thought, whoa, you are lucky they didn't land.
Yeah, it's almost like he wanted to hurt him. I know that sounds stupid because obviously that's what they want to do. But it's almost like he was so pissed off by the narrative that Bivol might have won the first fight. It's like, okay, I'm just going to knock you out this time.
Yeah,
like,
leave no doubt
forget
this
the
time.
playing anymore. I'm just going to knock you out. But Bivol's levels, I was lucky enough to see Crawford beat Spence. And I mentioned this because that was probably the best performance of two elite guys I've seen and one guy just go through a level that I've not seen before. There were times in that fight where Bivol, bear in mind Beterbiev's pound for pound top 5.
Easily.
Bivol started to go through gears that I didn't even know existed.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
I thought Bivol looked great first time around, and I thought, like, how do you improve on that? He improved on that and then some. He looked, at times in that fight, it was just stunning. It was absolutely, watching him, it was just like, this is perfect. This is the boxing you want to see.
It's because of who he's fighting.
Exactly.
Like if he were to do that against, when he fought Lyndon Arthur.
Exactly.
I'm like, okay,
kinda,
but no disrespect to Lyndon, but I'm like, okay, it's kind of Lyndon Arthur level. I get it, right? A guy fringe top 15. When you're doing it against a guy that's never been defeated, a guy that's like universally recognized as the scariest guy in boxing, built like a tank, can throw hands and bombs in both hands, and has good feet.
Yeah.
To do it to that guy, I was like, wow, this is special.
It was incredible. Like Beterbiev, one of the best in the world, one of the biggest punchers pound for pound in boxing, and here you are just moving in the pocket, fast jab, everything, and it's like, oh my god, how good can this guy?
But in saying that, look, we're giving Bivol all the plaudits because he's the victor. Beterbiev was fantastic again. I mean, these two are split. It's razor thin. I mean, it is like they've had 24 rounds, and I think you could probably give 13 to Bivol, 11 to Beterbiev. That's how close it is.
It's razor close.
Yeah.
And you say that, you could easily have it even.
Yeah,
you could even 12 apiece.
You could easily have it even.
After two fights.
Yeah.
That's why it has to be a trilogy.
Immediately?
Has to be. Oh, immediately. It has to be. Well, one Beterbiev.
You don't normally get that. You don't normally get immediate trilogies.
No, I did see someone tweet, could you imagine a 32-year-old Beterbiev in there? Holy.
Oh my God.
40 years old.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
You know what, dude? That's scary.
That's actually scary. That's a terrifying thought.
If they were the same age, oh my God. Honestly, because you forget that Bivol's 34.
34.
I mean,
Neither guy is
40.
probably at their peak.
Yeah. If
Beterbiev.
if Beterbiev was 34,
Yikes.
I'm a bigger Bivol fan, but Bivol ain't getting out alive. Bivol ain't getting out alive.
I don't think there's
But
any light heavyweight that
I
good.
saw Beterbiev age in the final couple of rounds.
You
I
did,
saw the
yeah.
heavy breathing. I saw him miss and he misstepped a little bit, which is a sign of fatigue, and that comes with being 40. If he was 30-ish, 36, I'm telling you now, Bivol, nah, ain't happening. Benavidez was ringside. I spoke to him. I went up to him and said, Benavidez, like, come on stage with us. And he was like, yeah. You know, Benavidez didn't watch the main event.
What?
Benavidez left because he had to catch a flight.
Oh, man.
It went on to, I was like, so what, you've travelled from the West Coast
You were literally
to Saudi
their
Arabia.
mandatory.
I was like, because I wanted him on stage to sell it. Like, I want the winner. No trilogy. He gets in the ring, the crowd goes wild, and who knows? They might just do it. He left.
He's their mandatory.
And I will say this about him. He ain't as big as you think.
Really?
Dude, he ain't as big as you think. Honestly, I was a bit surprised. And it goes to show how small Canelo is.
Yeah.
Because Benavidez is considered the bully.
Yeah, we look at
when
him
he
and
stood
we're
up, I was like, you're not as big as I thought you were.
Yeah, you look at Canelo and you're thinking, God, you're going to get dwarfed.
Yeah.
If he's not as big as...
He's not as big as you think. He's certainly not as big as Beterbiev. He's maybe the same size as Bivol. Maybe. Really? I'm telling you, it surprised me a bit. I think there's a photo going around on Twitter of him and Callum Simpson. And Callum's so much bigger.
He looks
so much
massive.
bigger.
And he's
so
still
much
a super middleweight.
There you go. He's not as big as you think. But yeah, look, hopefully we see the trilogy. I don't know when. I'm guessing the opening of Riyadh season in October.
October time, because both guys, that's after, say, 4 months?
Yeah.
And maybe there is a bit of fatigue there.
I think so. I think what we now, February. So they get 4 months off, March, April, May, June, and then they go into camp July.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah,
I think you need a rest.
I'm thinking, like, if they would have known I think it was November they announced it, so it wasn't long. So they probably only had a couple of weeks off,
and then
smash back into camp.
And you imagine getting into camp to fight those two.
Yeah, man, it's not going to be as straightforward. It's a proper boom.
Camp's got to be very serious. Fight of the night, very quickly.
Beterbiev Bivol.
Not Boatsy Smith.
No. Beterbiev Bivol was a different level.
Different level,
Boatsy Smith was great.
That was a slugfest,
It was fun.
whereas one was a technical masterclass. And I'm with the technical masterclass
Same.
as well. What I did want to ask, and it's been one critique, and we've spoken about it before, but I thought the atmosphere was so much better. It was sold out.
I loved it.
It was a smaller arena, which is about 6,000. It can be extended to 8, but they kind of kept it at 6 because the stage behind me was so big, and behind me is where all the seats are, the other seats. So I think 6,000, that needs to be the only arena they use going forward.
Oh man, it was epic.
It was epic.
You could see how kind of enclosed everything was as well. When they did the zoom out, it looked amazing. And listen, I'm someone who, I don't really mind the atmosphere in Saudi.
Same.
I don't mind. I think like, is it what you're going to get in the O2 or the York Hall? No. But it's good for what it is.
Yeah, and I think what they've done, and look, they've done, 9 or so events in Saudi. And obviously they've tried out different things. They've tried out the arena, they've tried out music acts, they've tried out this, they've tried out that. I think it's almost as though they've tried things out. Okay, that doesn't work, we're not doing that again. Like, there was no music act.
Yeah, trial and error.
That's gone,
They
trial
know
and error.
that people are
yeah,
like,
we
nah.
don't need to go to Ade or Kate in the studio every minute. Get rid of that. Ade can just voice over the next fight. Exactly. And I feel like it just sped things up a little bit. Like even me as a ringside, I don't want to wait 25 minutes between each fight. Get it on again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If a fight ends early and you weren't planning on it, okay, fine. Just get the ring walk going.
All right, cool.
No killing.
All right, cool. All right, so guys, that's it. That kind of brings us up to date with all the news. Eubank, Ben, Saudi. What we want to do now, because a lot of you guys have asked for it, is preview a couple of fights coming up on the weekend. Gervonta Davis, right? Gervonta Davis. We've got to talk about him. One of the faces of boxing. I think the man has the potential to be the face of boxing. I just don't know if he's got the hunger to do it. Takes on Lamont Roach. Gervonta Davis is the WBA champion.
WBA. Lamont Roach was primarily at 130, so he's coming up for this
But
fight.
it's weird though. Lamont looks bigger than him.
Yeah, he looks
Gervonta
like
really is small, you know.
He's a very small guy.
Gervonta really is small. I can understand where I don't like the rehydration caps, and you know I don't want to go to 140 because the guys are too big. He is tiny.
He is.
Yeah.
He's not the biggest at that weight at all, but again, I don't like the rehydration caps. Listen, I love Tank Davis. He is one of my favourite fighters to watch.
Yeah.
But we've just had, in my opinion, probably the greatest card I've ever seen. For a price of £20, it's $80 US. This fight.
Yeah, and you know the worst thing about it? It comes a week after you had the 20. So the £20 one was right there. All the controversy, Daniel Dubois,
Exactly.
Floyd Schofield,
Everyone
what's
talking
going
about
on,
this,
Martin
yeah.
Bakoli, Turkey telling Hamza he's down. So you know everything. And then you go to this one, no one's talking about it.
Nope.
Co-main event, no one's talking about it. Literally no one's talking about anything.
Nope.
And it's 4 times the price. You can't. I'm sorry, you can't just. This is where it's so bad. And look, Gervonta doesn't put the price to these things. It's Amazon Prime, it's Al Heyman, it's PBC, but they've got to do something.
And for look, Lamont Roach is a good fighter, but like that is not a fight that you're thinking, oh, I gotta see this. This could have some controversy, and it doesn't have any of that. There's no field.
If you're going to do a card, or if you're going to charge that much, and I think there was a time when Benavidez Morale was co-main event to a Gervonta. I feel like in the schedule until, because remember Gervonta was supposed to fight in December or something.
It was meant to be on the undercard, I think. Yeah,
It was, wasn't it? So it was Gervonta, Lamont, and then it was Benavidez Morale. I'm pretty sure of that. Okay.
Yeah, that's different.
Then you're giving us something.
Then you're like,
Then you're like
happy
$80.
days.
But look, regardless, how do you think that fight plays out, Lamont Roach?
Gervonta Davis probably will, like, he's looked in his last few fights that he can be
rusty.
outboxed a bit rusty.
But then,
once the ring rust comes and goes, then it's just boom, it's over. And I reckon that's literally what it's like. Boom, it's over.
I think he does that to every single 135 pounder.
So do I.
And I put Shakur, I put Keyshawn, I put my best friend Loma. I think you're outboxing him, and then you don't know what's happened.
That's the story of his career.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen it? Leo Santa Cruz did it years ago.
Outboxing him. Pedraza to an extent, and then he's just gone. You're like, whoa.
One uppercut, and they're not just gone, they're out cold.
Gone. And I think he does that with Lamont Roach. I mean, he's beat Lamont twice, in the amateurs. And I think he's just got that thing over him. He's just got a fear factor that they don't look scared, but as soon as they get touched, they're like, ooh. And then once he knows you're scared of that power, you're done.
And he has that as well. Like Wilder had it at one stage. The opponent knows, I gotta be perfect, gotta be perfect, gotta be perfect. And you burn energy, you do this, you make a mistake, it's done.
Does he fight Shakur Stevenson this year?
No.
Does he fight Keyshawn Davis this year?
No.
Does he fight Loma this year?
Maybe.
Wow.
That's the
So
only
we've got
one.
4 champions in a division, and we don't even think they're all going to fight each other.
No, I think Loma's the only one, maybe. And bear in mind, Tank was reluctant to fight him throughout the course of his career. It's only now he's right at the very end. He's like, oh yeah, now I'll fight him.
Yeah, I don't think Loma fights again. I think he's going to relinquish. What has he got? The IBF?
IBF.
I think he's going to relinquish the IBF, and then who else? There's some young kids coming up. We'll see. All right, there is a fight in your home country.
My home country. It's going to be good.
Country.
It's an all-Irish
We're
affair
going to Belfast.
Oh, man, that's going to be epic.
Paddy Donovan.
Lewis Crocker.
Yeah, Lewis Crocker. Look, I've seen both of those guys fight live. Most recently, Lewis Crocker when he fought Conor Walker. And he was a bit lucky in that fight.
He was.
He came in as the bigger puncher, and I do wonder about the weight cut because he looked like the gas tank ran empty after about 7 or 8, and we know Conor Walker's always going to be there. I love this fight, though. I've been to Ireland a few times, and nothing beats the Irish.
And nothing beats a domestic clash.
Yeah.
We don't get many of them, but when we do...
Why are the Irish so loud like this? Like, what is it?
I
Conor
don't know.
McGregor.
It's just the way we are.
Katie Taylor. What is it?
We just love having our moment. I think maybe, and this is the thing, we don't produce as many big stars. We get jello. We get to see domestic clash in the UK every week. Yeah. When it's our turn, it's like we are coming out in force.
Yeah, and you travel as well.
Yeah, we travel everywhere. This is Limerick versus Belfast. Ooh. Do you know Limerick? It's probably about a 3-hour trip to get up there, and there will not be an empty seat in that place. You will have the Limerick fans.
Eddie has said, I saw the Eddie quotes from the press conference today. Eddie said sold out.
Yeah, easily.
Sold out. Because as you say, they're starved of big events there as well now.
Exactly.
You know, there was a time when there was so many fights in sort of Ireland, and obviously we know what happened. We're not going to get into that, but you don't get as many anymore. Now they have to travel. So the fact that there's one at home and it's 2 Irish lads going against each other, it's going to be a good one.
And there's some good scraps on the undercard as well.
Yeah, Craig Richards on the undercard.
Patrick McCrory. Yeah. Tommy McCarthy against Stephen Ward.
Yep.
The 2 of them are mates, so that's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, both Belfast boys.
This is Tommy's last opportunity.
This is Stephen Ward's last opportunity.
Yeah, it's both. I like that then. That's good.
It's literally winner stays on.
You know, it was weird. You say Craig Richards very quickly. Craig Richards was weirdly announced to fight on... Did you see that?
I seen it.
On the Saudi card. Yeah, and then it got deleted.
It was like Craig Richards' face. Then it was, I think his team were like, we haven't... It's like, well, okay, that was strange. That came out of nowhere.
It kind of made me feel like one of the light heavies were going to pull out. Like I thought, is Callum out?
That's what I was thinking.
I was like, he just came in, which kind of makes sense because that means he's fit and ready to go. But I was like, is Joshua Boatsy injured? And you never know with these people. Like Boatsy, if he was injured, would never say.
No.
He would never say. But I do wonder, like, why? You know what I mean? Like, was he a first reserve just in case someone got injured?
I think it would have came out by now. If one of the guys, because it was
Boatsy would never ever admit to being injured.
You think so?
He's that kind of person where he takes that to the grave. Damn. He takes that to the grave. But on that one, okay, so welterweight fight. It's an IBF eliminator as well. Who wins?
Paddy Donovan. He's special. I think that kid is talented. He was signed with Top Rank before his pro debut at 21 years old.
Yeah.
He had the backing of everyone. They don't, especially Irish fighters, they don't do that unless they see something really special in you.
Andy Lee loves him.
Andy Lee's
Andy Lee, by the way, Andy Lee's hot right now.
Oh man, he is.
Ben Whittaker's going to sign up. He is hot right now.
He's in demand.
Yeah.
And Andy
I just wonder how much time Andy's had with him. Because he wasn't in Saudi.
With Paddy?
Yeah.
Paddy does train in his gym though.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, Andy, obviously, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, would have been out in Saudi. I don't know if Paddy travelled. I'm guessing not.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, for that kind of crucial crunch time, do you know?
You would want them. You would want them. Because this won't be an easy fight for Paddy Donovan. No. Make no mistake
Crocker
about it.
can crack, Paddy can box.
And Paddy can crack too.
Paddy can crack. I don't know if he can crack like Crocker. Crocker's so big at the
huge.
weight. He's massive at the weight.
I seen one of his early fights. He fought in Windsor Park years ago, 7 years ago. He was at 154 then.
See, yeah, he looks like 154 pounds.
He was at 154 then.
He does. What's interesting, and we'll end on this. You've obviously got those 2 Irish welterweights. You look at the UK scene, and you've got Echo Usman versus Josh Taylor. Again, you've got Conor Walker as well, who looks like he's going to fight McCormack.
Yeah.
You got Michael Mickinson. You got Chris Congo. All of a sudden, there's loads from nowhere, and I dare say you got a certain Mr. Conor Benn.
You do.
Still at welterweight.
Still at welterweight. The domestic scene is epic.
And what I like is none of them want to be in the domestic scene. They all want to try and get out of it.
I was going to mention Josh Taylor. I was thinking the Zone, Frank Eddy. It's like Josh Taylor would never take that fight because he's like, I am not. This is a once-off at domestic scene. I'm
literally doing a one-off, and then I'm
it.
going straight to see who Boots and Ennis are going to fight next. Sorry, Boots is Ennis. You know, I mean Boots and Stanionis. All right, G-Man. I think we covered everything.
I think
there's always something.
There's always something. Oh, and we've got a press conference tomorrow.
There's going to be a little push and a pull.
Yeah, there's.
I'm telling you now, yeah. And obviously, I'm saying this to you guys now. This is going to come out on Friday, as you guys know. Conor Benn is going to get retaliation at that press conference.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you think Conor's just going to sit there and smile and do nothing, Think again.
We are gonna be tuning in, just dying to see, right, what is he gonna do.
Indeed. Guys, as always, like, share, subscribe. It really helps the channel if you are joining. And Gman, the link to his channel is in the description below as well. Go there. Again, like, share, subscribe. Loads of videos. This guy does about 10 videos a week, which is, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it, to be honest with you? But that means he's giving you content every single day. We'll see you next time.